Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.
G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome as I'm about to bring you to Crookwell in New South Wales to see what we can find in this week's Classic Restos on the road. On today's show, it's an original 1964 XM Falcon Hardtop. And before we meet the lovely lady that owns this delightful Falcon, here's a few fun facts relating to the mighty XM. Trim, Taut and Terrific was the marketing line that aligned itself with these Falcons by Ford Australia. There were around 1,500 modifications to the XM from the XL, which in itself testifies to such an improved car, featuring stronger ball joints, new front upper wishbones, coil-over shock units, relocated rear spring hangers, bigger rear axles, and even tougher engine mounts. The XM is a great example of where Australian design really cut in by 1964. The XM Falcon was introduced in February of 1964 up until the launch of the XP in March 1965. Just over 47,000 XM Falcons covering all models were produced. Someone's got a barbecue going. Trace, can you smell the snags?
Yeah, it smells good, actually.
Why is it that the neighbours' barbecues always smell better than from your own yard?
I don't know, maybe because we haven't been invited.
This place has got everything out here, hasn't it?
Sure does. Autumn's a great time of year. Yeah.
Tracey, thank you so much for the invite here today. Your beautiful XM Falcon Hardtop, 1964, sitting here in all its exuberance. You love it, don't you?
I love it. And he's a boy, by the way. His name's Big Boy. Mm-hmm. So.
And how did you come up with Big Boy?
All my cars are boys, actually.
It's a beautiful example. What can you tell us in terms of history, where Big Boy's from?
Well, he's originally a Victorian car. And I was talking to some friends at the early Falcon Nationals in South Australia saying I want another hardtop, or a coupe, as a lot of people call them. And I didn't know that a friend was overhearing this conversation, and they'd wanted to sell one because I tried to buy 12 of these and kept getting outbidded. And would cry and be disappointed because I didn't have an early Falcon in the garage. And then got a phone call from this friend and said, "Hey, I've got one. Do you want to come and have a look?" And as soon as I saw it coming in the driveway, I said, "I'll have him, thanks."
And you would have cried almost.
I did.
Because the elation of knowing that you were finally going to get one, and that feeling of being let down continuously, getting your hopes up in the past, isn't it nice that he came your way?
Yeah. I'm getting emotional now thinking about it.
But see, this is beautiful. This is what it's about. This is what our classic cars do to us, or bikes or trucks or whatever you are into. The condition of your car here is straight as an arrow. We look down the passenger side there with the door alignment and the panel gap. It's like as though I just left the factory. Absolutely beautiful. Remnants too of the dealership where he was first sold, from that faded sticker there in the centre of the rear screen. We can't actually quite make that out. We can see Ford there, but that's great history to have in the rear screen. And of course highlighted by the factory Venetian. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Venetians. It is a little bit hard to clean the window at the back, but it does protect the back seat.
If we look around the interior, the beautiful red dash, the factory Ford radio, there proud in centre of dash that's never been removed, hasn't had a hole cut in the dash and some aftermarket stereo shoved in there with a mallet. You know, it's nice for this to be left the way it left Ford.
Correct. I'm a very original girl. I like all my cars original, all the Falcons that I've had.
Now, the Ford emblem, now I love that on these XMs because that takes me back to looking at a custom line from the 50s. That's remnants there of the 50s.
Yes.
So Tracey, it's been wonderful here at your place. Thank you so much for letting me feature your beloved XM Falcon Hardtop on this episode of Classic Restos.
Thanks very much, Fletch, for coming out. I've enjoyed your time here.
Good on you. Thanks, Dale.
Thank you. This car means absolutely everything to me because I fell in love with Falcons from the age of 16. I love the style of him, the curves. I love the chrome. Brings back great memories of my childhood. It's just an absolute joy to drive, and I drive him as much as I can. People give you the thumbs up and bip the horn. He means the world to me, and I sometimes think of taking him off historical rego so I can drive him every day. He's not a trailer queen or doesn't live in the garage all the time. I bought him to drive it. And I've always said that if you have a car, you're meant to drive them. He gets driven, and that's what you're meant to do with these cars. So when you're driving these cars, you're actually driving them. So the feeling is amazing.
Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network.
In 2024, why not consider a Detroit tour with Fletch? Detroit, the automotive epicenter. It will leave you gobsmacked. Imagine experiencing where automotive history on a grand scale began. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your 2024 Detroit tour with Fletch. Email fletchtours@mail.com.
Out in the sticks, middle of nowhere. Peace and quiet, fresh air. You can't beat it. Well, around 2 peanut butter sandwiches and a thermos full of coffee away from Crookwell, which is just out of Goulbourn in New South Wales, is a little township called Grabangullen. And this is our second location for filming today. I'll be buggered. Jeez. Huh, look at that. Unreal. It's just amazing the stuff that you find in the bush. Now, where is this joint?
Oh, we found the second filming location for today's episode. How are you, Phil?
Pretty good, thanks, Fletch. How you going?
Good, mate, good.
Can I offer you anything to eat, drink, cup of coffee, anything like that?
No, it's okay, mate. It's all good. I found a peanut butter sandwich and a thermos over there in the scrub. It's all good.
Yeah, very good.
Here we are in the middle of nowhere, found a shed, and this is here, a 1970 Mach 1 Mustang. How cool's that?
Very cool, very cool.
Phil, what can you tell us about it?
Well, it's at 1970, as you said, 351 Cleveland. I purchased it from Tasmania, sight unseen, in 2009. And had it shipped up here.
There you go, Tasmania. There's one you're not going to get back.
Exactly.
Looks to be a pretty good example, Phil.
It is pretty good. It's been restored once in its life, obviously. A lot of original parts on it. I've just maintained it, really. But yeah, it's a very good car and it goes rather well too.
Yeah. The old 351 Clevo, it's a good thing. I've got a lot of time for the Clevos. I think they're a great engine.
Yeah, love them. Yep.
And with muscle cars, hard to find. Traditionally they have histories of being, raced, thrashed, pranged, resprayed, different engines in them. So, it is harder, I think, to find a genuine muscle car these days that's, been looked after.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. As I said a minute ago, there is a lot of original parts on this. If you look underneath the car, it still has the original proof coating or whatever they called it back in the day. I think the seats are original. As I said, a lot of original parts.
Yeah. So driveline, top loader, 9-inch diff?
Yes, exactly. And it's got a disc brake rear end out of an old school LTD.
There you go. It seems to be the hamburger with a lot with Ford, doesn't it? 351, top loader, 9-inch. It's a great driveline, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Pretty much indestructible.
Okay, so when you got it from Tasmania, what sort of condition was it in? Pretty well the same as now? Have you done much to it in the time you've had it?
There was a lot of pieces missing, like bits of trim, things like brackets that hold the bumper bars and stuff like that on, a few headlight surrounds. I've changed the carburetor, tuned it obviously.
Where do Mustangs go back with you? What age were you when you first saw one and kind of got hooked or thought, I wouldn't mind one of those one day?
Well, not that long ago actually. I was working in a car yard in Crookwell and the owner had Mustangs. I worked on them, liked them, so I went and bought one.
Okay, Phil, interior of the car, you've done a pretty good job there in preserving it. I mean, it all looks, from 1970, it's all matching, looks nice. The big shifter in the centre, that means business.
Yeah, the big old Hearst shifter, which was standard back in the day in these things. I think the interior is pretty original, except maybe the carpet, and it's been converted to right-hand drive.
Yeah, okay. But it's a good car.
A lovely car. I love it.
And it's not, look at its house it lives. Yeah, what a bit of a man cave here. Got some signs on the wall. Got yourself a hoist. You're pretty set up here, Phil.
Yeah, need a hoist here. I'm too old to be bending over anymore. The Mustang means to me a lot of friendship, actually. I've met a heap of people because of the car and my involvement in the Crookwell Car Club. We do a lot of events. We do a lot of charity events. As part of the Crookwell Car Club, we organise the Rolling Chrome car show, which has been very successful. From the heart, the Mustang means to me a lot of fun. It's just so much fun to get out and drive. People give you the thumbs up and like looking. Yeah, that's what it means to me. As far as cars go, I never thought I'd end up with a Mustang. I had a lot of Ford Escorts when I was younger. I had an RS2000, which are very classic cars now. My favourite cars back in the day were Aston Martins, but I just fell in love with Mustangs for some reason, and I'm pretty glad I did. The feeling I get when I drive the car is that of exhilaration. The acceleration is good, but just the exhilaration of driving the car, especially when I'm out with my wife. We have a lot of fun together, and it's just an all-round good time.
What is it, Phil? Synonymous 351 Cleveland and the shaker. They just look so good coming through the hood, doesn't it?
It does. Unbelievable. I love it.
I like the stance of the car too. You've got some wider rubber in the back.
Yes, 295s on the back and 225s on the front.
Good on you. Phil, I want to just thank you for your time featuring this Mustang. It's good to get out around these country parts of New South Wales and see what's hiding in the sheds. And again, Phil, thank you very much for the opportunity, mate. It's been a pleasure.
No problems, Fletch. Anytime, mate. Pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Phil.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird,
Oh, that's mine.
the Combi for when we want to get away, the XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride.
Insurance for your tools, memorabilia and much more? Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And for more information, visit shannons.com.au. Welcome back. Time for Derek now on today's show. How are you, mate?
Top of the world, mate.
You'd have to be. You've borrowed Phil's real estate.
What about it, eh? Yeah. Isn't it just great? It is. Yeah. Been like this now for a month to three with this weather. Yeah.
At time of filming in New South Wales, just coming into winter, 2024, blue skies, sunshine. Just a really nice time of the year, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, we've got a very special car here. Now, these Fords, I'm quite passionate about these Fords. I used to have an XD Falcon. It was a 12th month 79 build. I had the car for 13 years. It went in 1995, 5 years after having a 5.8 built up for it. I still remember going into the Ford dealerships and being able to purchase the sticker decals, 5.8 4-barrel for the air cleaner, and it was a beautiful car. What we have here is something quite rare. It's becoming very rare anyway. I don't think there were many of them made even back in the day.
I don't know what the build figure was on them, no, or the number on this one. I never looked, really.
We've got a 1981 Fairlane here, 5.8, 351, factory car, and 65,000 Ks on it, Derek?
65,000 and a half. So
And you're the second owner.
second owner. Yeah.
See, this is why the car is so good, because the first thing that's going to wreck a car, in my opinion, is multiple owners. So you've bought yourself a one-owner car here.
That's right. Yep.
Now, we have seen others in the past, well, I've seen others in the past come along, and they're, with due respects to the poor old girls, they're 50-footers. Yeah, they look okay from a distance, you get up close, and they might be rough. They're rough around the door trims, or they're rough around the dash, or, there's holes drilled in them, and whatever, the list goes on. But this car takes me back to 1981, being in a Ford dealership where you'd open the doors and see the quality and just how nice they were. Your door trims are beautiful. The switch controls. You look at the dashboard. This is an exceptional car, Derek.
It is. Yeah, exceptional car. Completely original. The only thing that's been changed on it, and I've still got them, is the rims, the tyres, of course, and the original rim and tyre is still in the boot from 1981. Yeah.
Interesting point too with this car as well for up-and-coming enthusiasts. Now, if we look at a car like this of 81, it's going to be less money than, say, a Fairlane 10 years older. I believe that this model Fairlane, if you can find one, is definitely a fantastic car for the enthusiast bracket, for people that want to get into the classic car fraternity. If you can find yourself one of these Fairlanes, I reckon you're in. I reckon you'll do well.
Yeah, it's limousine. You've got the seats there. The back seat in this car has never been used.
As far as you know.
For all intents and purposes, yeah.
And what do you know about the history of the car, Derek?
Well, the car was bought by my next door neighbour And I tell everyone that I had to go a long way to get this car, all of it 10 metres at least, to get it. And he bought it new. I remember the day he bought it home, and it has been kept like that ever since.
Just to give you an idea on how special this car is, well, was, still is. Now, Derek's wife's had this little board made up. There's a picture of the chap in the lower right-hand corner, and what a nice, happy, jovial sort of bloke he looks. He looks like a nice fella, and he passed away. And I love the line here where he was asked, why didn't he order a Ford LTD? And the original owner said that people would think that he had too much money. Well, bless his heart, eh? So I'll just get a 5.8 Fairlane instead. But listen to this. This would probably be one of the only cars in Australia. ZJ Fairlane 1981, 5.8. Oh, we've got that. We've got the mid-grey leather seats. The options, outback suspension. This is why it sits a little high in the front. That's right. All right, because it's got the suspension pack there. It's got a power moonroof, power door locks, power windows, a Class 1 towing pack, and original wheels. The option there was the alloy sports road wheels.
That's right.
The new price, $16,600 plus the LTD options. The dealer was Davey Motors at Crookwell, and it was owned from 1981 through to yourself in 2016. I think that's fantastic, Derek.
Great, isn't it? Yeah, 8 years. I didn't even realise it was 8 years. That's how good the car is. Yeah.
But you remembered how far you had to go to get it, right?
Exactly. 10 metres is not bad, is it, when you buy a second car? Eh?
That's unreal.
I'll go that far any day for a second car.
Well, I'm really pleased that you took the initiative to get it off this gentleman, because I'm sure by the look of him here, he'd be happy to know that you are the owner of his car.
I kept asking him to put me in his will, but he didn't get round to it. So, I bought it off the family, and they were pleased for me to have it. His son was, and the grandchildren. Yep.
Well, in 16 years of doing Classic Restos to date and over 750 episodes, I can't remember where I've seen a better 1981 Fairlane than this. It's this is exceptional, mate. So I'll get you to hold that for me, and good on you, Derek.
Thank you. Thanks, Fletch, very much. Yeah, good for the interview, and to come and have a look at the car.
Good on you, mate. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and it's been wonderful, mate. I love the car.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do too.
Good on you.
Yeah.
You take care.
You too. Thanks, Fletch. Yeah. This Fairlane means to me a bygone era by a person who has now passed away. My wife and I were happy to acquire this car and keep it, considering he was our next door neighbour. To drive this 1981 Ford Fairlane is like driving a limousine. You get into the car, the seats are pale grey leather, they wrap around you, the car is effortless. It's a top gear car with a big V8 in it. You come to a corner, there's no changing, it's just top gear all the way round. And it's just a great car to have and drive. The car was made with the driver in mind. And when you get into a car of this kind, the car is effortless to drive. There's plenty of torque, being a 351, being a big end gearbox and diff, as the Outback towing pack suggests, and the car cruises.
Well, there you have it. How cool is that? Featuring Tracey and her original 1964 XM Falcon Hardtop. Then Phil with his 1970 Mach 1 Mustang, rounding off with Derek and his amazing 1981 5.8 Fairlane. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching. you can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.
Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.